Hello and welcome back to the Game Bet Match podcast. Back in the house, I'm Manny Friedman along with my co-host
Brad Sloan.
All right, it's been a week kind of dormant, but there's a ton happening in the tennis world, and this is going to be a mega podcast. It's going to be a two-parter. The first part, we're going to recap all of last week since we didn't have a pod this week. We're going to go over Doha, Marseille, and Rio. And then in the second part, we're obviously going to preview everything to come next week. So there are a few segments that we're going to add. Brad can get into that.
Yeah, I mean, so before that, I got to log a formal complaint with YouTube and Google because I was checking out our podcast and I saw that our related videos are videos such as calming rain to help you sleep. Which I'm not sure, I'm just a little disappointed. I didn't realize we were that boring that you would watch our podcast to fall asleep. I mean, I guess we are, but man, I thought tennis was more exciting than that. Yeah. But getting into the tennis, we have a couple of new segments. So we have some hardware to hand out. So our first award is the Pablo Carreno Busta of the Week award. This goes to a player who caused Manny and I great pain in our betting lives, as well as themselves some great pain through a rough week. So without further ado, our first Pablo Carreno Busta of the Week award goes to
Bum ba da bum. Jiri
Lehecka. Yeah. Brutal loss versus Murray. He was up, he had 5 match points, serving for the match, and it didn't end too well for him. I had him over 12.5. And he had to get bageled the first set against Murray, who's not the type of player that should be bagling anyone at this point. So much of Murray's game now is to fight and to win tough, close sets. To get bageled was just depressing. And then he came back, and then I had the high of him blowing the 5 match points at 4-5 to get it to 5-all, which was so exciting. So I was all right, now 7 is back in play because I needed 7 in the third after a bagel in the first. But then he lost the tiebreak, so not happy. Manny, what bets did you have on Lehecka?
So the only bet that it was just so painful for you that this had to be the nominee or the winner. It was also really painful for Tidbits Tennis. I know on Twitter, everyone was commenting.
It's also gonna be really painful for Lehecka, right? It's just a brutal loss.
It's just a terrible loss.
Yeah.
The only bet I had here was Lehecka minus 1.5 games. I thought he was clearly the better player between the two, and I thought maybe some fatigue would come in for Murray. Plus, I just thought Lehecka would overpower him, kind of Murray's underpowered in that matchup. And it actually felt like that was the case. The only thing was that Murray just had a significant mental edge in that matchup. So, and 1.5 was kind of out of play after the first set, right? You lose a bagel set. Even if you win the match, the chances you win that are very slim.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that painful. It was just it was a loss, but yeah, I mean, it was, I can't imagine having the over 12.5. I think that might even be more painful than money line. Although money line was pretty bad too, because I think,
the thing was, I guess, I think both were painful, right? I bet the over 12.5 because I thought it was going to be a close match. I called it was a close match. I did not call the bagel coming in.
Right.
I thought you think at least he gets 1 or 2.
To be honest, you wouldn't have so if Lehecka made one of those match points, because I think they were at 5-4 in the third.
And I still would have missed. I would have been 12. But I just need if you win in 3, I just need a breadstick. You can get breadsticked in the first and it's fine. But I just need you to get a game.
Yeah.
And for Murray, I understand.
No.
You should never get bageled, but I get it if
you're playing
bagels you, right? That makes sense. He's an elite returner. You don't play a good set. You serve poorly. I get it. I don't understand how you get bageled by Murray. That might be the first bagel. I can't even remember the last time Murray had a bagel before that.
I know.
Like, it's so not.
I think it's safe to say that that bagel constipated you the rest of the day, right?
Yes, yeah. The only saving grace was that was the no, it was not. Yeah, that was the day after the Epic Wednesday.
The Epic Wednesday. That was insane.
Wednesday was more, yeah.
We'll get into that a little later, but that was insane.
So for our second award, we have the Brad Gilbert BD Bulldog of the Week award. This goes to a player who showed extensive mental fortitude in winning, a difficult match, which helped themselves, but also making Manny and I, very profitable in our betting lives. So this week's Bulldog of the Week award goes to
Andy
Murray.
Sir Andy Murray.
Sir Andy Murray, yes.
Yeah.
Sir Andy Murray had 3 consecutive 3-set wins this week and played Medvedev really tough in the finals.
He did.
In terms of my betting, I had him as the 4th leg in a 14-1 parlay. A 4-leg 14-1 parlay that hit. So I was thrilled when that hit. That was about as good as it could get for me.
Incredible.
So I was a very happy man. But then not just that day, but then also on Saturday against Medvedev, I had 3 props on Murray. Him to win a point in each of his first 4 tournaments at plus 135. Him and Medvedev to both break in the first set at plus 150, and Murray to get a break in both sets at plus 300. So it was just a great. I mean, I think I made like 30 units if you count the full parlay. I made 30 more units than I would have if Murray didn't win because of Murray this week. So 30 units for one guy. We're happy about him. He might end up being our Bulldog of the year.
And did you bet him against like Sonego in the first round?
I did not bet him against Sonego. I didn't know how to bet that match.
Okay. We bet him against
I
Zverev.
didn't have him there. I had him versus Zverev.
We hit him in futures as well.
We hit him in futures. Yeah, so we hit. Yeah, I mean, we did good. We done good, man.
Very well. Yeah, I even hit him minus 3.5 against Muller when he lost the first set. Because
so I lost there. I thought Murray would come back and win, but I thought that Muller would take 5 games the rest of the way. I know Muller is bad, but 5 games in 2 sets is not that much to ask for. Is it?
Well, it is when you're Alexander Muller. I mean, he played out of his mind. I kind of listened to you because I thought maybe he can keep it up like to some extent, and I thought Murray might get fatigued, but no. I mean, it's just
hard to bet. Like, it's really hard to breadstick in 2 guys, right? Like
Muller played out of his mind in the first set, and it was still 6-4. So I
understand that but like look, we saw like Thiago Alves get like 3-3 or 3-4 off Alcaraz this week. Like, it's really hard to destroy guys, to breadstick and bagel guys in the ATP Tour.
It is hard. I mean, I'm not denying that. It's just,
and Muller won some matches. Like, Muller sucks. Like, Muller's not a good player. Yeah. I mean, call it to Tidbits Tennis. He has an ELO rating on hardcore below 1,500. Which is horrendous. Call it to Tidbits Tennis on that stat. Yeah. But like, I mean, man, like, I don't know. Like, it's not that hard to get 2 games in a set, like at the ATP level. Like, you get to serve half the games. I mean,
Murray upped his game though. There's no doubt about it.
No, I mean, I watched them. We both watched the match. Like, it was. I mean, Murray did good, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that being said, Murray was amazing to us. That being said, he may have taken a few years off our life because every
the match against Zverev was insane, man.
Incredible. Like,
I mean, Zverev outplayed him for large portions of that match. Zverev actually looked decent for Zverev, or for Zverev's form since the injury. Murray, again, like, it's just incredible how well he mentally grinds. I mean, and the dude just keeps grinding. Like, he just doesn't. And he's always been that way, so it's not a surprise, and even was after the injury. But like, it's incredible to see how like the dude's got a metal hip. Like I didn't think the guy when he came back, I thought the guy was done and was gonna just like suck up wild cards. He's gotten back to the point where he's a legitimate ATP player and a legitimate threat to beat all but like maybe the top 5-10 guys.
He was right there with Medvedev. I mean, giving him trouble. Medvedev actually played quite well in that match, like
I agree. I thought, yeah, I mean, the little bit I watched, I thought was pretty good quality. And I thought that actually it was
like if Medvedev started yelling at the box and like, going through one of his like, mini hissy fits, like
he did against O'Connell to screw over a bet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Murray would have taken a set there and that would have gotten complicated because Murray, he'll take advantage of that. I consider him a top 10 player of all time. And this run actually post metal hip, what he's doing now is actually solidifying that for me.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, yeah, it's simply incredible. And there's really nothing else to say about it. But yeah.
I mean, I had Murray money line against Sonego, and that was another throat in your mouth match. I mean, all of them this week were just
well, that's why his mental fortitude is incredible, right? At his age, to win 4 back-to-back resetters to make the final.
Incredible. Yeah. I for this award, I have to give an honorable mention to Bernabe Zapata Miralles. He was excellent this week, and he won me quite a few bets as well.
Yeah, I would agree. And he beat Vamos Renolas in 3 sets.
That was a good hit.
Yeah.
I had him,
but he lost to Norrie, and not that's a bad loss. But if you want to win this award,
he came back and made it very competitive. I had over 20.
Bernabe looked tough in that match, but if you want to win this award, you got to win your 3rd set tie breaks. It's the Bulldog of the week. It's not the decently tough mental player award.
Right. That's why he's an honorable.
No, in the future we'll do finalists for the awards before we'll announce 4 finalists and then pick a winner.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he's a good finalist? Is there anyone else?
He would have been a finalist for sure.
Finalist,
he would have been a finalist for sure.
Yeah, he beat Munar. He was only minus 135 favorite there, so that was a decent win for him. Yeah, and do you have a finalist for the Busta award? I personally have to give it to Greek Sport. That was
see, I didn't bet Greek Sport, so I don't have anything to say there.
That was on that fabulous Wednesday, and that was my only like kind of bad loss that day. The rest of the day was just insane. But that
the only thing I had was Greek Sport plus 3.5, and I won.
You won that easily.
But from a player perspective, it was a pretty brutal loss.
Well, I had money line.
Maybe Jarry, like Jarry losing to Alcaraz again. It's like
plus 4.5.
The way, like the fact that he got bailed in the 3rd because I had him plus 4.5. So I think you did too, and I had that in a 2-leg parlay, so for like 3 units. So that cost me a nice 5-6 units. Now, granted, I did get 1 unit back because I hedged a little. I somewhat hedged with Alcaraz once he lost the 1st set. I thought getting Alcaraz at minus 120 down a set against Jarry was just incredible.
I got him at plus 100 actually. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, anything close to, I would have hit it at minus 150. Like, I don't. I mean, these guys, there's like these top 10 guys have such a mental edge.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough. So I guess any other thoughts from Doha? Because I guess we naturally started there since both of our award winners were out of Doha.
Yeah. So Doha. Just what do you think about Murray, like kind of going forward? You like his chances, like going into Acapulco, Dubai and Indian Wells, Miami? Like, do you see him making it?
I'm a little worried about. Is he in the draw for Dubai this week, or is he taking the week off? I haven't even looked yet.
He is. He's in there.
I probably would fade him this week, but he probably will get a Wednesday start. They'll probably give him a Wednesday start or a Tuesday start at least, so maybe not. But I might fade him this week. I also don't know that he needs this week. But
depends on his draw,
I think going forward, like, I don't know. Like,
he plays Hurkacz first round.
It's a winnable match, but it's also a losable match.
It's interesting because Hurkacz is coming off a title as well.
True.
So
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like,
I don't think I'm going to fade him. I actually think, I mean, I want to see that line. I haven't seen it yet, but I would be tempted to hit Murray there. I don't know. The mental gap that he has against so many of these guys is just so massive that I don't know. I think it's worth a flyer if you get a good line on him. Unless obviously
yeah,
he's playing a Medvedev but even in the Medvedev match, like I hit plus 1.5 sets, I hit plus 5.5 games. Like I thought they were kind of disrespecting Murray. Like Murray was like plus 440 money line. Like I understand like the reasoning that the books have, but I don't know. It's just like to me, I just trust the mental fortitude so much that like I'm gonna hit those bets. Not the money line, but like the set spreads and the game spreads, you know? I don't know.
yeah, I can see that. I mean, I
So
don't, it's yeah, it's he's I personally, it always depends on the spot and the odds, but like
yeah,
I think he's a pretty good bet against most guy, almost anybody outside the
I
top
know.
20. Like I'm probably gonna treat him like a guy in the 20s at this point, maybe low teens. Like I would trust him over a Goot right now.
Oh yeah,
I would trust him over
100%.
Evans. I would trust him over a lot of these guys in the 20 to 30 range.
And that's kind of where I put Lechka in, right? I put him in that range as well, right? Even though his ranking doesn't
He
say
might
so.
be above those guys already. He might be borderline top 20. There's kind of been a weird there's a weird shift, and there's a bunch of guys in the 20s and 30s that are really not playing well right now.
Yeah, yeah. You have to look at the spot a lot. As far as Doha goes,
Hey, we hit. I hit 3 quarter bets. I had
oh yeah,
Medvedev, FAA, and Murray all hit to reach the quarter, so that was good for me. So that was
that's
probably
excellent.
my best bet outside of the Murray bet that we mentioned before.
Yeah, and then the Murray to win that quarter was what plus 225, I think, right?
Yeah,
So
yes, that was the most.
that was
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, and I parlayed it with Hurkacz from Marseille. So
nice.
now how about the Medvedev FAA matchup? So like they played back-to-back weeks.
So FAA looked better the second time around, right? Close 6-4, 7-6.
He
Good
did, but
fight.
it's just like there's so many. The matchup is really bad for him. Like you could see after that match, it was one of the colder handshakes I've seen from FAA. Like he's just fed up with that matchup. You know, like I feel like I don't know.
I'm not going to do too much analysis into the post match handshake, but
Yeah, I just like feel like he's just like pissed that he can't get over the hump against Medvedev. I just think it's like a terrible matchup for him.
it's a bad matchup for him. But I don't know. I mean, 4-6 isn't bad. Medvedev's playing pretty well. I mean, so where do we put Medvedev? I put him as a top 5 guy. I think again on hard. I think he's a top 5 guy
Yeah,
right now.
there's no doubt. I don't think you can deny that.
So then I think he's just a little bit better than FA right now. I mean, FA's he's doing decent, but he lost a set to Kubler, and yeah, it's the first set of the tournament. I understand that, but it wasn't that good of a week for him, right? He lost a set to Kubler.
Beat
He beat in the
Fokina.
quarters. He beat
Fokina.
ADF 4-6, but that was whatever he beat them in 6. But the second set was really close. I think it was 8-6 in the tiebreak. So I don't know. I'm not I just think Medvedev's a better player right now than FAA.
Yeah, the problem with FAA is that he can't win easy matches. Like I feel like whoever he plays, it's going to be 4-6 or it's very few and far between. I know he had one against Sonego and Rotterdam.
Yeah, but maybe he's just not that good, right? Maybe he's just his game's just not that there right now. I mean, so are you treating are we I think I'm treating FA as a bottom of the top 10 player, which doesn't put him that far, that head and shoulders above the rest of the field. There's only 5 to 10 guys that are heads and shoulders above.
I actually think Sinner might be playing at a higher level than FAA right now.
Oh, 100%. No doubt. That's not even a question mark.
Right.
Sinner is playing top 10 tennis right now. FAA is probably playing bottom, somewhere in the bottom of the top 10, which isn't terrible, but it's very interesting. There's just again, there's a few guys who are head and shoulders above, and then after that, there's if you name the guys who are playing really head and shoulders above right now, Djokovic, Alcaraz, Tsitsipas, Medvedev. Sinner. After that, like anybody else?
Right. I mean, I will get into it. I don't even think like Alcaraz is just mentally and physically such a beast, but I don't think he played that great this week.
But he was
So,
head and shoulders above that field. Like you would never right? Like he's like you're never thinking he's gonna lose any of those matches.
And that's true. If he wasn't injured against Norrie, he wins that match too.
Whereas like I compare to like Norrie, who like Norrie had a lot of way closer matches than Alcaraz did, where like Norrie was really on the precipice. And I mean, just look at the betting lines, right? Like Norrie, you're getting like minus 200, minus 300, like reasonable lines on Norrie money lines against these clay guys. Alcaraz is like minus 600.
Yeah, I know. It's insane.
So, I mean, I think that like those five guys are just like a set above. And then there's some guys who are like hanging in there, like Khachanov was playing really well. He's on a long break now. There's a few other guys in there, but it's just it's amazing how there's like, and this always happens in the ATP tour, but there's like 5 to 10 guys who are like just head and shoulders above the next group. And then everybody else, it's like the field's got a shot on any given day. Not that it's 50-50 on any given day. There's skill differences, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like 50 versus 10 is like, or 50 versus 15 in the world isn't like a ridiculous like blowout.
Right. No, you're definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, FAA has been disappointing this year. There's no doubt about it. And I thought he would be like top 5. I thought he would make that next step.
But I think he's been okay. Like I think we're okay. I don't know. Like, I mean, who are his losses this year? Like,
lost to Lehecka at the
I don't have a problem with that loss. I'm okay with that loss. Like, Lehecka's proving to be a top 20-ish like a top 20 player right now. I think so. Like,
the Popperin one in Adelaide wasn't good either. I know that's the first match of the year, but
it's a guy at home. Popperin's got a big game. Like, I get that. I understand that.
Yeah, okay. And then I know he lost to Medvedev in Rotterdam, Medvedev in Doha. Did he play in? I don't think he played.
That's it. Those are the 4. So right? Like, none of those are terrible losses.
Yeah,
I don't think Lehecka is a terrible loss. Like, it's not good. You want to see him win that match, but I'm not like, OMG, I think I bet Lehecka money line in that match. Like, Lehecka is playing really good tennis right now.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the gap, right? Like, I see if you put Alcaraz in that situation, right, where FAA was, he comes through that match against Lehecka.
Oh, 100%, no doubt. Right. But like, but no, I mean, I guess like again, like, so FAA is struggling right now compared to what? Like, I mean, I don't remember where we had him. We both had him in our top 8. I had him in like the 4 to 5 range. Yeah. We might even had him higher. If we had him in the top 4 to 5, then he's disappointing right now. If we had him at 7 or 8, he's probably there.
I put him. I don't know. I measure him at a very high standard, FAA. So I just think
it's all relevant to the standard, right? Because like, is he playing as a top 10 player right now? I actually think he is.
Borderline.
Who's outside of the 5 guys I named before? Who's been better?
I gotta look at like a list, but
maybe Khachanov. But he hasn't played since the Aussie Open.
Djokovic, Alcaraz, Tsitsipas,
Sinner, Medvedev. Those 5 have been playing lights out.
I actually put Norrie in that mix. I think he's playing top 10 tennis this year. Just his consistency this year.
I mean, he hasn't lost to Lehecka as well.
It's a good point. In the same tournament.
Yeah. And he lost. I mean, he got a loss to Gasquet. I mean, that was, he got a loss to Gasquet.
Put FAA ahead of Ruud, obviously. Rublev. Fritz, probably on the same level as Fritz this year, I would say. Yeah, I think he's playing Taylor Fritz level this year.
Which is bottom of the top 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it shows that my point is like, we're talking all this. We've prepped on FAA the entire year. And like,
yeah,
I don't know, like again, 5 guys are playing lights out tennis right now. That's it.
It's a good point. Yeah. And he did lose the last 2 weeks to Medvedev, who it looks to be back to pretty close to his best.
I think Medvedev's back to his old form. Like Medvedev, I mean, again, the thing with Medvedev is he's always going to be like, because he hates grass. Grass is for cows and clay is for pigs. So he's not going to be, ranked ever as high as like he should be. I guess he actually did get to number 1, which is amazing. But like he's going to make all his points on one surface. So it's going to have to, like, he's a top 5 player as well as on hard courts. Once we get off the hard courts, completely different story. But on the hard courts, he's a top 5 guy, and you gotta bet him as such. And like he destroys these spreads, man.
I know.
Like he's been covering 5.5 pretty well for me. Like O'Connell didn't, but otherwise he's been covering some pretty high spreads too.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting, Dubai. I don't know. He's going to be playing 3 weeks in a row.
I can't see him being interested in that. Like, if you're Medvedev, like, why? I wouldn't be surprised if you withdraws. Like, just get over to the States early and get ready for Indian Wells in Miami.
Well, where he's historically not done well in the past. He hasn't done well.
But I actually think he'll do better this year.
I think he'll
do better for him.
I agree with that.
Those
play as slow hard courts.
They play very slow hard courts, but I think that Medvedev can succeed on a slow hard court.
He can.
I do think there's an issue on clay with him, like mentally, because he's mentally a little strange.
He is.
He's very mentally tough, but he gets like rattled
and
frustrated,
annoyed,
pouty. Like
yeah.
The O'Connell set was bad. Like he spent about an hour of the O'Connell match just pouting.
And when he pouts, he never does well.
Match.
He never does well when he starts pouting, ever. I've never seen him do well. Like it's like a bad look for him.
Yeah, and it happens sometimes, which is why
it's also why I'm very hesitant to play those 5.5 game spreads with Medvedev, because you don't know when he's going to have one of those.
But it feels like he covers them more often than not. It's like you're gonna no matter what you do, you're gonna lose sometimes in betting. In fact, you're gonna lose a lot. But I feel like a quarter of the time you're just gonna lose. It's gonna pout. But the question is, are you making enough to cover the minus 110 you're laying there usually when you're laying games? So yeah, I don't.
You're right. Yeah, maybe I've seen enough where I'm going to start hitting that, because he's head and shoulders above so many of these guys.
And play style wise too, right? Like so many of these guys just can't find a way to win a point on him.
I know. And the return stats are insane with Medvedev. I think he won
this year he's won 45% of his points on return. That's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Now Djokovic was there during the Aussie Open. But it's just insane. That's absurd. He's actually only won 65% of his points on his serve, which is the ATP average. He's just returning and playing defense at such a high level that even though he gets broken once a set, it doesn't matter. It's kind of amazing.
It's insane. Yep. And those are clay stats, but he's doing
right. When you're watching a Medvedev match, you're watching a clay court match played on a hard surface.
Right.
Because Medvedev's style of play, it's almost like he slows the court down. He doesn't, because you can't slow the surface down. It's not possible. Right. But he makes, because the way he plays, he slows the game down and controls tempo against anyone that can't serve and volley at an elite level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can serve and get to the net, you can kind of hurt that, because then it's harder for him to slow the game down. But if you can't play the net, man, you're done against Medvedev.
You're done. Definitely. Yeah, I don't think I would win a single point if I played him, because I have a terrible net game. Yeah, the spread would be 11.5 if I played him.
In a 3-set match, or a 3-set match, or a 5-set match?
3-set match. In 5-set match, it would be 17.5.
And what would it be? Minus 1,000? Minus 17.5, minus 1,000?
Yeah.
That's probably a gift, actually. There's no way. I mean, There's no way you're getting it. You know how hard it would be to get a game against one of those guys?
Ridiculous. Yeah. All right. Anything else in Doha?
I'm all Doha'd out, man.
Doha'd out. All right. Let's transition.
Let's go to Marseille.
Marseille. Yeah. So
what were your best bets in Marseille?
Let's see. So Marseille, Hurkacz was the winner. I bet him to win the quarter, and I parlayed that with Murray to win his quarter in Doha. So that was a great win for me. I had to sweat that out because that match against Emer in the quarters was quite stressful.
Yeah, Emer. I didn't watch the match. Did Emer compete at a high level? Because
yeah, I think Hurkacz was a little off. I don't think he played his best tennis, but
I thought he was kind of off the whole week at times. Actually, he
won
the event, but he hasn't looked that good this year.
No, he hasn't. Yeah. But that's a good title for him. That could build some confidence.
Yeah, he hadn't been playing well at all, right? So it's good to see him. Yeah, I think it's a good title for him.
Yeah. How about Arthur Fields? What's your take on him a little bit? I feel like now the books have kind of overhyped him. I was actually shocked to see him as a favorite against Bonsai.
Yeah, and we both hit Bonsai against him.
Yeah. You did.
Yeah, we both hit Bonsai against him. I hit the money line.
Yeah.
Very
I think that was a genius bet. I think that's one of your smarter bets actually of the week.
Yeah, I think so. Fields hardly won a point against Bonsai until the end when Bonsai tried to choke. But look, we know Fields is a young kid, right? So he's got good game, nice game, but doesn't return the best yet, not consistent. He's kind of what you'd expect out of what I think he's a 19-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid. He's got time to improve, but he's got a lot of talent. He's just got to kind of harness that in.
Right.
Right. So
yeah, I played the Wawrinka. This may have been one of my dumber bets of the week. Wawrinka money line against Fields. I was all over the Wawrinka.
I'm always hesitant to bet against French players on fast, hard indoor courts. It's from what I've heard, I think all the French indoor courts, and there's a ton of them. There's a ton of tournaments in France, and between the Challenger and the ATP Tour, and I think all the indoor ones use the same hard court surface. They use that same fast surface. If you'll notice, they all play fast.
They do. Yeah. No, it's true.
So my point is, I'm always hesitant to pick against a Frenchman on a.
Wawrinka to me is kind of French. He grew up in Lausanne and he likes those courts too.
But this is more about crowd, right? Okay. This is you see did you see the Bonsai Hurkacz match there? That crowd atmosphere was awesome.
Crazy. Yeah. It's good.
And they were going nuts for Bonsai every time he won a point. So my point is I usually bet these French guys at home. I think the French home court is probably usually I think home court's probably worth a game. I think with the French guys, it's probably worth a game and a half, maybe 2 games. They all seem to know how to play this fast hard court surface really well. And the crowd just gets behind them and backs them, and they just go nuts the entire match. I wish more crowds did that. The French and the South American crowds are great like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's probably why they have so many tournaments in France, because the crowds are so good,
Yeah, probably. It's probably every city and there's tons of people who want to direct a tournament in France because they know they'll draw people and get money. I agree.
Yeah. But Wawrinka could lose against Fields, but just the fact that it was 2-3 and was just utter domination,
that's surprising. That's disappointing from Wawrinka. I would have thought 4-4, 4-5, 4-3.
I know.
The fact that he got broken multiple times in a set is quite sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else in So
what do you think De Minaur? The De Minaur, I think Bonsai beat De Minaur. Bonsai played really well.
He did
I think that's more of an indication of Bonsai playing well than De Minaur playing badly. I also think De Minaur, when you bet him, and I bet him, I actually parlayed him in the over against Bonsai, which I thought was a good bet. It just Bonsai just played great. But my point on De Minaur is I think De Minaur is going to lose 5 of these matches a year where a guy just plays well and there's nothing he can do because he's just like he's really limited in what he can do.
That's true.
He's tough. He mentally competes really well, but he's just like really limited. I mean,
he's a great
athlete.
But I actually think he needs a slower hard court. Like he struggles on really fast courts where guys can kind of serve him off the court or hit big against him because a
slower hard court helps him, right? Because he's such a good mover on hard court.
Yeah. But Rotterdam is a slower court, and then like he played Dimitrov extremely tough, beat Rublev there. So obviously he has I think he needs a slower court.
Yeah, I agree. Although the way he plays like really up on the baseline, so the quick court should help him because he should be able to take away time on a quicker court. I don't know.
I think he. Yeah, I guess I don't know.
I would have to go back and like look at stats and try and like look and see it and evaluate. I
feel like the ball he tries to take it early, but the ball comes too fast at him if it's such a fast court. And if they're serving big, it's just impossible to take.
Yeah, I mean the lack of serve is obviously not as good on fast. It's probably equal. Like there's probably a narrative both ways. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I had him in a futures parlay, which was looking really good. Alcaraz to win the tournament, which he didn't. Lehecka to win his quarter, and de Minaur to win the title. And it was looking good in the middle of the week, but didn't hit. So
did you go 0 for 3 on that?
No. Lehecka won his quarter.
Okay. Right, he beat Rublev. Right.
Beat Rublev. Right.
Yeah, he had a good week. The choker of the week was a little unfair, but I was just so angry about that over 12.5. Like sorry, Yuri. But you can't get Bailey against Murray. That's not okay.
No, you can't. Or
else you will be
I think didn't you have a painful bet the Dimitrov money line against Bublik in the Marseille?
I did. But that was more painful. Like Dimitrov, it was weird. Like he was up 6-4 in the third set tiebreak. Yeah. But like he kind of slipped, I think, on the 6-4 point on the court, and like it was just kind of like a shitty match, painful loss. But like I don't know, it didn't feel as bad as Lehecka.
Yeah. Well, you had that bet, and then you also had someone in the second quarter to win the title. Is that right?
Yeah, which was really painful.
Okay.
Because I got Bublik.
I know.
Right? So Bublik
rely on Bublik to win 2 matches.
I wasn't that surprised. Like part of the reason I took that second quarter is because I thought that like that quarter had a lot of good players, and whoever came out of that quarter would be a legitimate threat. But yeah, I mean, Bublik, I wasn't that sad that Bublik won the quarter. I actually thought Bublik was going to make a run, so I figured, like, I don't know, he's got to get points, man. He's down to 50 in the world. Got to find some points so he can clown around for 3 more months. And I didn't see the match against Hurkacz. I'm assuming he played a decent match.
Yeah.
He lost in, it's like, what, 3-6?
Something like that. Decent match. Hurkacz hit the shot of the year in that match.
Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't see the highlight. I heard about it.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I didn't see much of it either. I was actually surprised how well Bublik fought this tournament. Like, he dug in, like
he did. Yeah, I mean, he's just so maddening, man. That guy.
It's impossible to bet him because you don't know what's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's Marseille. Good win for Hubert Hurkacz. Nice week for Bonsai again. I mean, I was starting to fade him after the Australian Open, and he was starting to have some kind of suspect results, but he's picked it up again. So we'll see what's to come from those two guys. Now Rio. Aren't you so depressed that this Golden Swing is coming to an end? We got one more event in Santiago this week.
I know. I'm like, why is that an event? Like, they have don't they have multiple challenges in Santiago? Like, I don't know. Honestly, like I took a brief look at that draw. That draw
is weak.
He's a challenger level draw.
It is. We're gonna get a bigger challenger level draw in like week 2 of Indian Wells in Phoenix than we are there, and it's probably like not even close.
No, we won't, because like the sign up list looks great, but my guess is half of those guys will pull out because either they'll do decently well at Indian Wells.
Okay.
Or they'll.
All right. So,
because I mean, like, if they make the third round Indian Wells, they can't play it.
But with all the pullouts, you'll probably have an even field.
Probably, yeah. I mean, this draw at Santiago is so bad. We'll get into it, but it's so bad.
Yeah. But I don't understand why Rio is like the third leg of it, and then Santiago, they play Santiago after the 500. Like I thought Rio would be like the end of it, you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you would think they would end it with the 500 with like the biggest tournament in the best location. Like the Santiago tournament, just like it's like there's a bunch of tournaments I don't understand why they're on the schedule. This one I don't understand at all why it's on the schedule. I really don't get it. Like, I mean, I guess some dude wanted to host a tournament in Santiago, Chile, but like, and that's cool, but like, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't see the.
Yeah. That being said, we'll bet it.
Oh, of course. I mean, there are players playing tennis. There are players hitting tennis balls. We will bet on these players hitting tennis balls. Like that was how this is going to go. But
right.
But yeah, and it will be a fun tournament to watch. It will be great. It will be awesome watching these South American and Spanish guys grind each other into the dirt.
Oh, it'll be amazing.
It's going to be so sad though, because like, what happens to Delian? What happens to like Juan Pablo Varillas? They just like fade away now for like another 10 months from our existence.
Well, they'll enjoy the European clay court swing in July. That no one
they might go back for that, but they won't go to the spring one. They won't make it into the tournaments for the spring one.
Yeah, maybe some of them will, like Bernabe will, and you know, the Spaniards will.
Yeah, the better ones will, but there's these guys like these South American guys, especially, man, just so fun. Like massive forehands, nothing else. Like massive forehands, massive heart, decent athleticism, nothing else.
Yeah,
like a guy like Montero like literally can't play the net.
Oh,
okay. He hits an overhead, he like backs up to hit a forehand. It's like amazing to watch. Like the guy hits a lob like that bounces like a quarter of the way up the court. Montero backs up and takes a forehand to the baseline.
No.
Like,
yeah. Well, let's start there because that Montero was my biggest the biggest part for my crazy Wednesday.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. So I hit 2 massive parlays. And I think I posted on Twitter the amateur parlay. But that was a great discussion, by the way, Klaus and the tennis betting podcast. We appreciate
it. Very interesting discussion.
Like
very, very good discussion. We appreciate the thoughts and then the feedback. I don't know if I moved your view at all. I probably didn't. You definitely made me think about some things. I'm not going to go away from parlay. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it definitely does increase your variance. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, Brad and I are not doing this professionally. We both have full-time jobs. We just love the game,
but there are. There are so many different aspects of this, and maybe one day, maybe the next iteration of this for me is to get more into like the like betting on values aspect and like the hedging and like. You know, like if you think a guy's going to start well, you could bet him to win the first set. And then if they get ahead, you could bet the other guy and get some arbitrage. Like there's so many levels to this. It's kind of insane.
So many levels to this. Yeah, absolutely. I just like parlaying bets I'm very confident in. And I mean,
theoretically, if it's plus EV, then it should be a good thing. You just lose your ability to line shop. You lose your ability to hedge. You lose your ability to control. You're increasing your variance. Like, I get it. It's just
right. Yeah. I get it too. I mean, honestly, I'm more up on my parlays than I am on my single bets, like just because I've won maybe like 10% of them, you know, throughout the year. So but yeah, I mean, for all the reasons you brought up, and that was a very, very interesting discussion. So so the Wild Wednesday. So I hit a 38-1 parlay and I hit an 11-1 parlay, and I needed Norrie to win and I needed the match to go over 21.5, and that was my last leg. So that was just absolutely incredible because I think so Norrie won the first set. What was it? 7-5.
Yeah. I had the Norrie over 12.5. This was a fun one for me because I got to watch Manny. That was the last leg of one of my parlays. It was like a 7-1.
Yeah.
And I got to laugh because I hit the 7-5, so I got to watch Manny sweat.
Oh, that was brutal. And then, but I think he had, at what was it, 5-3? He had match points, right? He had 2 match points.
Yeah, I think Montero, yeah.
And he saved them with some crazy forehand winners. It was just amazing. And then he actually got the break back to make it 5-all, and then
Yeah,
Norrie
it was 7-5, 7-5. Yeah. Yeah. So you got yeah, that was definitely one for you. I was definitely
oh
I was happy because I got this first 7-5, so I just got to watch you sweat.
yeah, that was a sweat. But what a match, though. I mean, that was very entertaining.
Montero plays really tough. The dude's got a lot of heart. It's
He's overmatched. He has a lot of holes, right?
I mean, he only hits forehands. Like outside of his forehand, that's all he has. Like
Right.
actually, but again, like Dellion's kind of similar. Varias is kind of similar. Like
Yeah, there are a lot of guys similar. It's true. What else in Rio? So that was like early in the week. So Norrie wins the title. I mean, so we were kind of
I
laughing.
killed Rio, man. From a betting perspective, I did so well. I hit Norrie over 12.5 like 3 times in a row, and he kept coming through. Like it was just amazing. It was just kind of amazing. In general, I really love the over 12.5.
Yeah, let's get into that. So I think it's a fantastic bet as well. I've hit it quite a bit. I think you've hit it more than I have.
So I actually looked. I don't know if I've hit it more than you or not. I'm 9-5 this year when I've hit it, and I'm 10-5. And I'm about 4 units up in 15 bets, which is pretty good. I think that's the best bet I've had all year. It's like a 30% ROI. It's kind of amazing. Obviously 10-5 is a small sample, but it feels like a good bet. I mean, you can't do it instantly with everybody. Like a lot of these guys like Cressy, like you'll just see the odds will be like -200. It'll suck. But like a lot of times, like you'll have relatively even matchups and you'll see like I think like I saw like Bublik Dimitrov. Might like the overs for like 12.5 might have been in like the -120, -130 range, which like is not bad at all, given that like those are probably gonna be close matches. And like man, to your point, like so outside of the top 5 guys, right? Like that we just talked about before, like a lot of these guys are going 7-5 in sets because a lot of these guys are super even.
There's going to be at least one complicated set. Like it's very rare that there isn't. So you pick the winner, and then most of the time it does go over 12.5. And what's great about that bet is both guys can hit. Like the Dimitrov.
Yeah, I mean, so looking at it, like we Manny and I took a small sample, but I think we saw like it was something like 70% of like the winners hit, and like 20 or 30% of the losers. Like, yeah, it's a really it to me it feels like a really good. Now, the only thing I'll say against this is like you would think the markets would be good at this, so you would think the odds would be pretty well set. You'd have to pick and choose, and obviously, but I've done really well with it. Maybe these derivative markets aren't as well thought out. I don't know.
Well, so and it's also interesting because like we follow a lot of guys on Twitter who do this stuff, right? And
you hear a lot less about the over 12.
Yeah, I don't like hear much about it, and I actually think there's a ton of value there, So it definitely like we're going to promote. Yeah. So
I mean, like I said, it's been working for both of us.
I'm just looking at like the quarterfinals in Rio, for example. Every single winner hit the over 12.5.
Right.
And yeah. So Alcaraz against Lajovic, Norrie against Dellien, Jarry against Baez, and Zapata against Ramos Vinolas. Every single winner hit. And Jarry, who was dominating Baez, the match got complicated in the second set, and Baez got that break back. It went to a tiebreak, and there you go. So
Baez is like my favorite over 12.5 guy to hit. Or he's one of my favorite over either him or the guy against him. But like that guy fights so hard, but he's got like he's kind of limited on power. So like every match with him is going to be close.
Yep. Yeah. And if you hit over 12.5 in Rio for both guys, you would have hit. Right? Today, Alcaraz Norrie final. So
yeah, of course. So the match was insane. It went like 32 games. Like,
and
but a lot of times if it goes 3 sets, both guys will hit. Not always, but a lot of times.
And we're talking about a slow clay court. Like I actually think the bet is more profitable on a fast court.
Yeah, the only thing is I've seen again. You'll always check the odds. Like you're not going to get good odds for Cressy over 12.5 or Isner over 12.5. Like, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting. I personally like it. I want to like I haven't had the time yet, but I'm going to calculate the stats for that particular bet all year. So
yeah, I'm going to start definitely diving, I think, more and getting more into that until it starts. I'm going to start going to that well until it starts to stab me in the throat. But so far it was really good for me this week.
mm-hmm.
Outside of that, man, like I did really well in Rio this week. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I'm looking at it like, I mean, it started like with the first round, so I already talked about like Montero over team. Like that was a bet that I hit on Monday night, which did amazing.
Yeah, I think we both hit that actually. That was a really good bet. We got that at what, plus 180?
I got it at 195.
That's really good.
Yeah, and so that hit. We faded Schwartzman, which was just money in the bank. Like, but yeah, and then I mean, it just for me, I hit Morales over Norrie. Morales, won that match pretty easily.
I lost quite a bit on Fonseca early in the week against Molchan. It's just, I mean,
yeah, I wasn't as confident there. I saw a lot of the hype, but I didn't really believe it. On that Wednesday, Delian was amazing. So part of my 7-1 parlay, my smaller parlay that I hit, was Delian versus Molchan, and Delian lost the first set 6-1 and came back to cover.
Yeah, amazing.
Like again on these South American clay courts, you just get like ridiculous scores like that. Like I think it was like 1-6-6, 1-6-2 or something comical. Like the under might have hit also in a 3-set match.
Crazy, yeah. Ridiculous. I had today in Santiago qualifying, I hit a Ugo Carabelli with a similar scoreline. Even betting the spread, it's just crazy. I
hit Morales Cerundolo to go 3 sets. I've done that
great.
Twice now in the past 2 weeks, and I'm 2 for 2 on betting Morales versus Cerundolo to go 3 sets.
That's amazing.
But there's some of these matchups that just feel like they have 3 sets written all over them. One of my biggest disappointments of the week is I didn't do the same thing for Bernabe against ARV, because that was also a match that was going 3 sets every time, and it's like plus 140. But ARV's been so bad. It's just like so hard to trust him.
It is. I hit this Bernabe money line, and
that's what I hit also. But I was just ruining the fact that I didn't get plus 130 instead of minus 130, or that I didn't hit both.
Yeah.
Like I could have probably gotten 3-1 if I would have hit the Bernabe 2-1, which is probably what I should have done.
Mm-hmm.
But hindsight's always 20/20.
What else?
Hey, but ARV did get a straight set win. His first straight set win in 6 months. Yes. ARV.
I mean,
over Galan. Which I don't know if that says more about ARV or Galan.
Right? Galan lost to Chardy.
He won a set versus Chardy. I thought he could win a set versus ARV as well.
We're never going to get over that loss, right?
Oh, that loss. That loss is the Busta of the year so far.
Yeah.
I don't know if much can. By the way, I don't think Chardy's played since.
No, he hasn't. Which
tells me he's just looking to retire. Like he's done. He's just on his retirement tour to cash in as many like checks as possible.
Yeah. That was. That's definitely the boost of the year so far. But
hey, Manny, what do you think about Nico Jarry? Is this a 1 tournament run, or is this the new Nico Jarry? Is it Nico Jarry? I don't even know how to say it. But
Jarry.
Yeah. Do we think Nico's now like what is he, a top 100, top 50 guy? He's a clay guy, right?
I've always been kind of surprised that clay is his best surface. And I would kind of expect him to be better on faster courts just with that big serve. I guess he needs more.
I've got a different theory now on this though. Because the obvious theory is the serve, right? But he's slow. He does not move well. He moves better. He might move better than like Isner, but he's big. He doesn't move well. And also on the clay, the ball bounces up for him. So he gets to hit a lot higher balls. And like you're not going to hit it over his head. He's so big.
I agree. I mean, Isner, so it's a similar game to Isner, and Isner was one of the guys that taken Rafa to 5 sets, right? I think one of 2 guys that has. So
the other thing is that kick serve, and you'll see Nico, he's not as good as it's like a guy like Opelka or Isner are, but like that kick serve, man, if you kick it on the clay, I mean, you can literally one hop the ball out of most of these courts. Like if the returner didn't try to hit it, you could one hop it over the side fence.
Yeah, I have to say I was surprised by how well he was hitting from the baseline most of this tournament. He was bullying the ball around, like, even against Alcaraz, like he did a great job for a set and a half. He just ran out of steam,
Yeah, which is not surprising, right? Like
it's not
mentally or physically to see that happen.
Right.
But yeah, it's
but against Baez, against Martinez had no shot. We bet him what plus.
Oh, Pedro had no shot. That was just a
beat down. So even against Baez, like,
and he's returning better too, Nico. Like he's getting returns in play, and it's interesting because like he lost like Felipe Melihene Alves.
Yeah,
say that 3 times fast in Buenos Aires in qualifying.
Yeah. See, like before this tournament, he's not a guy I even thought about. Like he's a guy that I kind of would not back because like if the ball comes back in play, he would struggle in rallies. But I want to see a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more from him. Is he playing Santiago?
Yes.
He is? Okay.
I'm assuming, I mean, he's in the draw. I'm assuming
he's also, isn't he Chilean? So
yeah, he's Chilean. Yeah, he's his own country. He'll play it.
I want to see how he backs this up. I want to see if it's, like I want to see a little bit more before I continue backing him in bets.
So he's staying away right now for a week or so until you feel better about it, or
yeah. And then I might revisit, like we could revisit this conversation when the European clay starts. But I want
3 tournaments, and I don't even know if Nico will go or if his ranking will be high enough to get in.
I think he'll be okay. I think this run might give him a wild card here or there as well.
In European clay events, he's not European. No. He's not getting the wild card to European clay. He's not a big name.
What's his ranking now?
I mean, right now it's 139, but that was before this tournament. I don't know. I haven't seen the live rankings update, but he's not going to pick up. He's going to pick up 90 points. Like, does that get him in the top 100? I don't even know.
It's not that much.
Yeah, like he's
yeah. I mean, I want to see his draw in Santiago. I don't know. What are your thoughts on him? Like, is he a guy you're backing next week in Santiago, or you want to see more as well? Or
yeah, I mean, so his ranking will put him like somewhere in the 100 to 110s. I was just looking, like some like live wise, he'll be somewhere in the somewhere just outside the top 100. So he's still not going to get into like European clay. He might get in the French. He's starting to approach that maybe to get in the French.
And I would back him in the qualies there, to be honest.
Yeah, I would too. But I mean, he's a clay guy. Like he's a clay guy and maybe slow hardcourt, but like he did all right in Aussie Open too. He qualified and he beat Kecmanovic down in the first round, right?
Yeah.
And he gave Shelton a good match.
Yeah, it was what
5-5 and 6 or 6-6 and 5, something like that. So I don't know, man. I mean,
he competes pretty well, and maybe he's shown the improvement on the baseline.
He is. I mean, he looked better on the baseline than he ever has.
I think he should serve and volley a little bit more with that crazy kick serve. Like that would give people trouble.
And with his size, right? Like he should be able to rack on a lot of volleys. But he doesn't seem to be that good, like at the net on like quick volleys. His overhead is good because he's massive, but quick volleys don't seem to be that good for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's in a very interesting part of the draw in Santiago. He plays Varillas first round.
Oh, I know. I saw that. That's a really weird draw. We'll get into that. That draw, it's not a strong draw, but it's a very weird draw.
And then he plays Schwartzman, which obviously that's easy money.
-5.5, I would take Jarry over Schwartzman right now. And I'm not even kidding. Like,
probably true. I don't think the books will give Jarry that much respect. It's probably going to be what 3.5.
Yeah, I'll just be.
I might hammer that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's on clay and on slow hard, but I mean, I'm really impressed by the Australian Open run too. So, like,
actually pretty good. Yeah.
I don't know. He might be. I'm treating him as a top 100 player now.
What are his challenger results? Does he kind of like play better in the big stage with crowd support and then kind of like not play as well in the challengers?
I mean, I guess you could say that, but like, it's hard to say because, like, again, I mean, you also got to look at like clay versus hard with him, right? Because he does better on clay. He also tries to play ATP events when he can, which he seems to be able to qualify, like get into like he's in. I mean, 100 to 120 gets you into qualifying for a lot of ATP events, right? So he seems to prefer to play ATP qualifiers rather than hiding out in South America or on the Western Hemisphere and playing clay challengers.
So he might actually qualify or get into qualies of like Madrid and Rome because I think those are 96 player draws now.
Oh, they expanded those.
They expanded those events.
Oh, then he definitely will.
So he'll get into the qualies
for those.
And if he finds a way to qualify, he's not a guy I would want to play, especially in Madrid with that.
Is Monte Carlo still a
I think that's 56, I believe.
That still is 56?
Yeah.
I love the 56-man draws, man. I'm gonna be really sad to see the expanded.
So deep. I mean, it's more matches to bet on if you expand the draws, but it's just the Monte Carlo draw is just stacked always.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the qualifiers for that are always like legit. Like you'll see like a guy ranked like 43rd in the world end up in like the qualies.
It's crazy. Insane. Yeah.
And you're like, this guy would be seated 3rd in Santiago this week.
It's a good point. Yeah.
But
yeah. No, I had an impressive week, man. I mean, in Rio. Musetti 4-1, Martinez 2-2, Baez 3-6, nearly beating Alcaraz. I mean, that's an impressive run. Even like his qualies are like decent clay court wins. Like,
I mean, Carbelli and the weaker Cerundolo, but still, I mean, the weaker Cerundolo on clay is not like a complete clown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just impressive. I think it's really impressive. Beating Baez on clay is really impressive. Like.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Did
you bet?
Shout out to Nico Jarry. Like he's if we hadn't made so much money on Murray, he would have been this would be more like performance of the week more than like because he just kind of overpowered everyone. It wasn't necessarily like superior mental fortitude.
Well, I wasn't backing him until he beat Martinez. You know, like
I played the Musetti money line against him, which I feel stupid for now.
I bet Musetti over 12.5.
And I bet Martina and I bet Pedro, I think either Jarry over 12, but I bet Pedro to do something. Or it might have been like Pedro -4.5 or -5 or +5 or +4 something. I bet like I bet something pro Pedro. Like so I wasn't backing him until the semis. Then I took him over 12.5 and then I had him +4.5 against Alcaraz and played well. But a great week for Jarry.
Great week. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Any other takeaways from Rio?
No, I think we're good to sign off for part 1. Get a little quick 1-minute break, and then we'll be back on for part 2.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you for the next part.
All right. Signing off for the moment.